Today, I'm going to show you guys 3 very simple, easy steps to take your eyes from droopy to lifted with no eyeshadow. I've been doing this method for a while now, and I love the results and how simple and easy it is. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. So let's start with step 1, and if you don't have this particular issue, then you can go ahead and skip this step, but for me, this part is critical. So if you look at my eye shape right here, my lid comes down and then it creates this little fold in the outer corner, and that creates a dark shadow. So I want to cover that up, and typically if I try to put concealer right here, it brightens it somewhat, but it really doesn't cancel it out completely. So what I've found that works the best for me is the Pixie Beauty Peach Color Corrector. This is a very thick color corrector, and I initially purchased it for using underneath my eyes, but it's kind of too thick to use it that way. This one is incredibly thick like a paste, and that's why it works so well for this particular issue. I also like to use it on the inner corner of my eye right here where I tend to get darkness. So what I like to do is I just take a little bit on my ring finger, and right where this dark shadow is, I just pat it in. And you'll see in just a second, it makes that dark shadow almost completely invisible. And then once you put concealer on top of this, it's gone. Okay, so right away, my eye looks a little bit more lifted. Over here, you can see that this still has this part that curves down. So over here, with the dark shadow canceled out, it just makes it look more lifted right away. So I love doing this as a first step. And if you see other color correctors in pots like this, generally from my experience, they're not as thick as the Pixie one. I know Flower Beauty has one. There's the Becca one that everybody talks about. Those just don't have the same level of pigmentation as the Pixie one. So I find that this works the absolute best for this method. Okay, so moving on to step 2, if you look at the actual shape of my eye, instead of my lash line going kind of straight out this way, it curves down that way. And that's perfectly fine, but if I want to fake a lifted lash line, I have to sort of create the illusion that my lash line goes straight out rather than curving down. And I'm gonna do that with eyeliner. This is the Moira Beauty Double-Ended Gel and Liquid Liner. I love this because I use the pencil side first and then I go over it with the liquid liner. So when I do this, I don't like to line my lashes from inner corner to outer like people normally do. I actually like to start at the outer edge and then work back in. I find that that just works really well for this. So I try to figure out where exactly I want my lash line to go. So right now it curves down this way. So I figure maybe like right about here would be the point that I'd want it to end. So I just put a little dot there and then I work the liner back toward my lash line this way until it's about a third of the way back where it meets my lashes. And then I just connect the line I made down to my lower lash line, and I kind of come back in at an angle a little bit. So it creates a sort of a V or a triangle. And then once I have that set, I'm just gonna fill that in. And what this does is creates a dark shadow here, so it looks like, it gives the illusion that your lash line just continues on straight like that. So when you look at my eyes side by side now, you can really see that this looks like it just kind of goes more straight across, whereas this one still looks like it's curving down a little bit. Next, I take the liquid liner side of this pencil and I just go over what I did. So I'll just draw along the top line, connect the bottom, and fill it in a little bit. You can also then take this and just draw it out a little further and create a wing. Sometimes I do that. You don't have to, but sometimes just creating that little extra bit of a wing gives even more of a lifted effect. So you could see I literally just made a little tiny line at the end of that triangle that I created, and it just gives a tiny bit of a winged effect. And then I'll just go right along the rest of my lash line and just line the rest of my eyes. And I'm keeping this line very, very thin because I have hooded eyes. I don't want my liner to take up all of the lid space that I have. Another thing you could also do, instead of using the pencil liner first, you could use an eyeshadow and one of those stiff angled brushes that you use for liner, and just sort of map out where you want the line to go with eyeshadow first, because it's super easy to clean it up. If you make a mistake, you can always just wipe the eyeshadow away quickly and then try again. But things are definitely taking shape now. You can see that this eye is starting to look a little bit more elongated, a little bit more lifted, while this one looks a little bit more downturned. And then my third and final step is lashes, and there are actually two parts to this step. So the first one is mascara, and this is the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's a tubing formula, so it's not going to smudge or flake under your eyes either. So what I like to do here to also give a lifted effect is to apply most of the mascara on the outer corner and angle my lashes out this direction instead of going straight up. Okay, so at this point you can stop right here. I think we definitely achieved some lift on this side versus this side, but if you want to lift your eye a little bit more than this, there's one more thing that I like to do, and that is to add a little bit of false lashes just to the outer corner. And before you say, I hate false lashes, I never wear them, this is the easiest trick I have ever learned for false lashes. Before this year, and I'm 45 years old, I had never wore false lashes in my life. I tried, but I could never get them to work for me. But this is as easy as it gets. If I can do it, you can do it. So these are the Ardell Demi Wispies. I'll leave the exact ones linked down below, but I also sometimes use the Kiss number 11 lashes for this as well, and those work great. So I want to show you something quickly about these lashes, and I'm going to hold them right up here. We're not going to be using the whole lash. We're going to be cutting them, and I'm going to cut this inner portion right here. You can see this is the shorter part. If you cut these over here where it's really long and just stick that on the outer corner of your eye, they're gonna be way longer than your natural lashes, and it's not gonna blend and it won't look even. So if you cut this section right here, these shorter ones will blend with the lashes you already have, and then the longer ones will flare out towards the edge. So here's the lash, and I'm just gonna cut it right about here. And by far the easiest method that I've found to apply them is with this Kiss Lash Glue Liner. This is the clear one. It also comes in black as well, and it would double as an eyeliner. But since we already have eyeliner on, I'm just gonna use the clear one. So all you have to do is just go over the liner that we just put down and just apply it at the outer edge. We don't wanna do the whole lash line because we're only putting the lashes right here. Then you want to take that little clump of lashes that we just cut, and with the longer side facing out and the shorter side facing toward your inner corner, we're just going to stick this right here at the very edge of our lashes, just like that. And I usually just like to pat down on the band with my finger just to make sure that it's secure. And you're not gonna feel this on your eyes at all. It's not like when you apply the full strip of lashes and you can kind of see them in your vision, or it feels like there's something in your eye. That's how I always used to feel. This, just being on this outer corner here, doesn't bother me at all. So now I think you can really see the biggest difference between the two eyes when you see this little clump of lashes. It blends in seamlessly with your natural lashes, and it just gives that flared out appearance that really gives even more lift to your eyes. So here's before and after. Over here you can see that there's that little shadow sort of pulling down my eye, and my lash line just curves down this way. On this side, everything looks lifted and a little bit more straight. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's both eyes done, and when you compare it to what they look like before, I think there's just such a huge difference here. And it's just 3 very quick and easy steps that takes me about 5 minutes now that I've been doing it for a while. It's really quick, and you don't even need to mess with any eyeshadow. So I hope that this tutorial is helpful, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also I'd love it if you'd hit the subscribe button as well. If you'd like to check out some more of my content, I'm gonna pop some right there on the screen and you can check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.